Major Tom Hawkins stared out the viewport of the International Space Station, watching the Earth turn slowly below. It was a rare, quiet moment, interrupted by the crackle of the comm system. "Major Hawkins, please report to the command module. Our guests have arrived," said Commander Lee, her voice steady despite the historic nature of the meeting. As Tom floated through the narrow corridors, his mind raced. The attorney, self-proclaimed masters of the stars, had chosen today to make their first appearance to humanity. It was not every day an immortal race decided to visit. In the command module, the air was thick with anticipation. The crew, a mix of astronauts from various Earth nations, stood at attention as the airlock cycled open. A hiss of air, and then they entered. 3 attorney, tall and imposing, their skin shimmering like polished metal. "Greetings, humans," said the lead attorney, his voice echoing slightly through the module. "I am Soren, accompanied by my advisors Morella and Vox. We come in peace and with a proposal for your kind." Tom stepped forward, extending his hand in a gesture of earthly goodwill. "Major Tom Hawkins, welcome aboard. May I ask what kind of proposal?" Soran looked at Tom's hand, hesitated, then mimicked the gesture. His grip was firm and cold. "Our empire spans many systems, and we seek to unify all intelligent races under one rule for peace and prosperity. Your planet has been chosen to join us," Soran explained, his tone more dictatorial than diplomatic. Tom exchanged a glance with Commander Lee, catching a flicker of concern in her eyes. "And if we choose to remain independent?" Tom asked. "That would be unfortunate," Morella chimed in, her voice smooth as silk and just as dangerous. "Consider the benefits of our protection and technology. Refusal is not advised." Tom felt a chill run down his spine. This was no offer. It was a thinly veiled threat. He needed to tread carefully for Earth's sake. "Perhaps we can discuss these terms in more detail," Tom suggested, keeping his tone neutral. "Humanity values its freedom, but we are always open to dialogue." "Very well," Soran agreed, though his eyes narrowed. "But know this, Major Hawkins, decisions must be made swiftly. We do not enjoy delays." As the meeting adjourned, Tom and the rest of the crew gathered privately to discuss their strategy. "They're not just here for a chat. They're sizing us up for conquest," Commander Lee whispered fiercely. "We need to prepare, not just here but on the ground as well." Tom nodded, his duty clear. "I'll relay everything to HQ. They need to know exactly what kind of peace is being offered." As the crew set to work, Tom looked out at Earth again, now acutely aware of its vulnerability. The attorney might be immortals, but he knew humanity wouldn't give up their home without a fight. This was just the beginning. The briefing room at United Earth headquarters was filled with a tense silence as Major Tom Hawkins concluded his report. Heads of state, military leaders, and top diplomats were gathered around the large holographic display in the center of the room, digesting the gravity of the situation. "Let's be clear," President Martinez began, breaking the silence. "The attorney are not proposing an alliance. They are threatening an occupation. We need a unified response, and we need it now." General Zhao leaned forward, her gaze fixed on the tactical display. "Our first step should be to fortify all space assets. We also need to accelerate the deployment of our new defense satellites and the Fifth Fleet." Tom nodded in agreement. "We should also consider outreach to other civilizations the attorney might have approached. If we can form a coalition, we might stand a chance against them." "Exactly," said Ambassador Singh. "We need to understand the full scope of their empire. Intelligence gathering and diplomatic overtures should be our top priority." As the strategy meeting evolved into detailed planning, a junior aide hurriedly entered the room, a look of urgency on his face. "Madam President, we've just received a transmission from the attorney flagship," he announced, handing her a tablet. The room fell silent as the message played out. Soran's cold, unyielding face appeared, his voice resonating through the speakers. "Humans of Earth, your hesitation is seen as defiance. You have 48 hours to submit to our governance, or we will begin our conquest. Choose wisely." The threat was clear and unequivocal. President Martinez's face hardened as she turned to her advisors. "It seems our time to decide has been dramatically shortened. Recommendations?" General Zhao stood up, her resolve clear. "Prepare for war, Madam President. It's clear these invitations will not stop at diplomacy. They intend to take Earth by force if necessary." "Agreed," Tom added firmly. "We need to show the attorney that Earth is not just another notch in their belt. We fight not just for our sovereignty, but for our survival." Nods of agreement circled the room as strategies began to form. from fortifying Earth's defenses to forming alliances with potential extraterrestrial allies. The meeting stretched on, every minute crucial, as they planned humanity's response to a threat unlike any other. Later, alone in his office, Tom reviewed the satellite images of Eternity ships amassing near the edge of the solar system. He knew the coming days would test humanity in ways never before imagined. As he prepared for the return to space, the weight of leadership and the stakes of the impending conflict settled heavily on his shoulders. "We're in for the fight of our lives," he muttered to himself, looking once more at the gathering storm of ships on his screen. Earth's defenses were strong, but would they be strong enough to withstand an immortal race determined to conquer? Only time would tell. In the dim light of the operations room aboard the UEC stealth vessel Shadow Strike, Major Tom Hawkins reviewed the mission briefing with his elite team. These men and women were specialists in espionage, sabotage, and guerrilla warfare, hand-picked for one of the most critical missions of the war: infiltrating Eternity-controlled space to gather intelligence and sow discord among their ranks. "Listen up," Tom began, his voice low and intense. "Our objective is twofold. First, we need to understand the Eternity's technological capabilities. Second, we need to establish contact with other civilizations under Eternity control. We're not just fighting for Earth now, we're fighting for everyone these tyrants have stepped on." Lieutenant Kara Stone, the team's communications expert, raised a hand. "Do we have any leads on which civilizations might be most receptive to joining us?" "We have a few prospects," Tom replied, activating the holographic display. It flickered to life, showing a star map dotted with various territories. "Intelligence suggests that the Thulians and the Sorek have both suffered under Eternity rule. They could be valuable allies." The team nodded, absorbing the details as Tom outlined the plan. Each member would infiltrate different sectors, using a mix of stolen Eternity technology and Earth's latest cloaking devices. The risks were enormous, but the potential rewards could turn the tide of the war. Hours later, Tom's shuttle docked silently on a small, inconspicuous space station orbiting a planet under Eternity control. Disguised in Eternity armor, Tom blended in with the crowds in the station's bustling market district. His heart raced as he initiated contact with a Thulian merchant known to be sympathetic to the resistance. "Zarn, I believe you can help me," Tom whispered in the local dialect, slipping a data chip into the merchant's hand. Zarn glanced at the chip, then up at Tom, recognition dawning. "Ah, a friend of freedom," he murmured, leading Tom to a secluded back room. "What do you need?" "We need allies and information on the Eternity's operations in this sector," Tom replied, getting straight to the point. Zarn nodded, his expression grim. "Many of us have waited for a chance to strike back. I can put you in touch with others who are ready to rise up. As for information, you'll find what you need here." He handed Tom a data pad filled with schematics and patrol routes. Back aboard the Shadow Strike, Tom's team regrouped, sharing similar tales of successful engagements and promising leads. Kara had managed to tap into the Eternity communication network, downloading a trove of encrypted messages. "We've got a lot to work with here," she said, her eyes alight with the thrill of the heist. "And I think I can crack their encryption, given some time." Tom looked around at his team, pride swelling in his chest. They were deep in enemy territory, vastly outnumbered, but they were not without hope. Their mission was just beginning, and the shadows they cast would soon spread far and wide. Major Tom Hawkins stood in the command center of the United Earth Coalition's flagship, the UEC Vanguard, as it hurtled toward Jupiter's orbit. The tactical display flickered with the positions of both Earth's hastily assembled fleet and the advancing Eternity Armada. The upcoming confrontation was inevitable. The vast gas giant and its moons loomed as the backdrop for what would become one of the most significant battles in human history. "Status report," Tom barked, his gaze fixed on the holographic projections of the ships. "Fleet positions are secure, Major. All units are in stealth mode, lying in wait behind Europa," replied Captain Imani Reyes, her eyes scanning the incoming data. "The Eternity forces are approaching just as we anticipated. They seem unaware of our true numbers." Tom nodded, his mind racing through scenarios. The recent intelligence gathered had revealed vulnerabilities in Eternity ship shielding, particularly against high-frequency pulse weapons, a technology Earth had rapidly developed and deployed. "Prepare to engage on my command," Tom ordered, his voice resolute. "This is not just a defensive operation. We aim to cripple their fleet here and now." As the Eternity ships entered the trap zone, a tense silence fell over the Vanguard's crew. Tom's finger hovered over the command console, waiting for the perfect moment. Then, with a swift motion, he gave the order. Now, all units, engage. The space around Jupiter erupted in chaos as Earth's ships decloaked and unleashed a torrent of pulse fire. The attorney, caught off guard, scrambled to mount a defense, but the initial salvo had already done considerable damage. Tom watched as several attorney ships faltered, their shielding flickering out. Keep the pressure up. Target their main reactors, Tom commanded, directing the fleet's firepower. Amidst the battle, he kept an eye on the tactical display, adjusting strategies in real time. The battle raged for hours. Earth's forces, fueled by desperation and the element of surprise, fought with unyielding intensity. Tom's leadership and the valuable intelligence gathered previously by his team turned what many had predicted to be a massacre into a surprisingly balanced fight. However, as the attorney began to regroup and counterattack, the tide showed signs of turning. A distress signal from the USS Spartan, heavily damaged and adrift, crackled over the comm. "We've taken critical hits. We need immediate assistance," shouted the Spartan's captain, desperation in his voice. Tom made a split-second decision. "Reyes, deploy the rescue squads. I'm going out there." Suiting up, Tom joined the team aboard one of the smaller, faster rescue crafts. As they maneuvered through debris and dodged enemy fire, Tom's heart raced, not just from adrenaline, but also from a fierce protectiveness over his fleet and crew. Reaching the Spartan, they quickly boarded the crippled ship, assisting the wounded and preparing for a risky extraction. Just as they were about to depart, an attorney cruiser loomed into view, its weapons charging. "Hold on!" Tom yelled as their craft lurched into motion, narrowly evading a devastating beam that turned space where they had been seconds ago into a fiery inferno. Back on the Vanguard, Tom watched as the Spartan's crew was safely brought aboard. Despite the losses and the lingering threat of the attorney fleet, there was a palpable sense of achievement. They had faced the Immortals and held their ground. "We've shown them we're not easy prey," Tom declared to his crew, their faces weary but resolute. "Let's prepare to finish what we started, for Earth and for all who suffer under the attorney rule." The cramped interior of the stealth shuttle vibrated as it approached the attorney flagship, hidden from sight by the latest cloaking technology Earth had to offer. Major Tom Hawkins checked his gear for the umpteenth time, his team of elite operatives doing the same around him. This was their most dangerous mission yet. Infiltrate the attorney flagship, learn the secret behind their immortality, and if possible, capture the technology for Earth. "Remember, stay sharp and stick to the shadows," Tom whispered, his voice tense but composed. "We're not just here to fight. We're here to gather intelligence and get out alive." The shuttle docked silently in the maintenance bay of the attorney ship. Tom led his team out, their movements silent as shadows against the vast metallic corridors of the flagship. They avoided patrols using the intel gathered from their previous missions, moving ever closer to the core of the ship where the source of attorney's immortality was rumored to be kept. As they reached the central chamber, Tom felt a chill run down his spine. Inside, protected by a pulsating energy field, was the Orb of Aeon. It was said to be an ancient artifact, capable of manipulating time and life itself, the key to the attorney's undying nature. "Jackson, you're up." Tom nodded to his tech specialist, who began setting up a device to disrupt the energy field. As he worked, Tom and the others stood guard, their eyes scanning for any sign of the enemy. Suddenly, an alarm blared, and the chamber was flooded with attorney soldiers. "Ambush!" shouted Lieutenant Mira Singh as she returned fire. "Cover Jackson!" The team formed a protective circle around Jackson as he continued his work. Blaster fire lit up the chamber, the sounds of battle echoing off the walls. "Almost got it," Jackson grunted, sweat beading on his forehead as he made the final adjustments. With a loud beep, the device succeeded, and the energy field around the orb flickered out. Tom wasted no time, rushing forward to secure the orb. As he touched it, visions of the galaxy's ancient past flooded his mind. Empires rising and falling, the attorneys' rise to power, and the countless lives they'd consumed. "Major, we need to move," yelled Mira, pulling him back to reality as she took a defensive stance near the chamber entrance. Clutching the orb, Tom and his team fought their way back to their shuttle. Each corridor was a gauntlet, each turn a potential end. But the team's skill and determination shone through the chaos. Once aboard their shuttle, Tom took one last look at the flagship through the rear viewport. "This changes everything," he muttered, the weight of the orb in his hands a tangible reminder of what they'd achieved. Back on Earth, news of the mission's success spread like wildfire. Humanity now held the key to defeating the Attorney once and for all. But as they celebrated, Tom knew the hardest part of their struggle still lay ahead. The battle for their freedom was far from over, and the Attorney would be coming for them with everything they had. Major Tom Hawkins stood on the bridge of the UEC Vanguard, the orb of Aeon secured in the ship's vault. The revelation of the Attorney's source of immortality had sent shockwaves through both human and alien communities. Now, armed with this knowledge and the technology they had seized, the United Earth Coalition was ready to take the offensive. "Let's review our strategy," Tom said, addressing his assembled team and the newly joined leaders of the Thulian and Sorek races. The holographic map in the center of the room displayed the galaxy, dotted with strategic points under Attorney control. "We've identified key systems where the Attorney's control is weakest, thanks to the intel we gathered," Tom continued, pointing to several sectors on the map. "Our plan is to strike these points simultaneously. We'll disrupt their operations and supply lines, paving the way for a full-scale rebellion." Kara Stone, now head of communications and intelligence, chimed in. "We've also cracked the encryption on their communication networks. We can intercept their transmissions and even feed them false information. It's time we use their size and strength against them." Nods of agreement came from around the room. The mood was resolute. The stakes had never been higher. As the fleet prepared for departure, Tom met privately with the Thulian leader, Sarnak, and the Sorek representative, Hila. "Your people have suffered long under the Attorney," he said earnestly. "Today we begin to repay that debt." "We are with you, Major Hawkins," Sarnak replied, his voice deep and gravelly. "You have given us hope where there was none." The fleets moved out, dispersing to their targets. Tom's ship led a direct assault on the Attorney supply depot in the Orion sector. As they approached, the tension was palpable. "Engage stealth mode and prepare all weapons systems," Tom ordered. The ship hummed quietly as it slipped through space, cloaked from Attorney sensors. The battle that ensued was fierce. Using the element of surprise, Tom's fleet quickly overwhelmed the depot's defenses. Kara's team effectively jammed the Attorney communications, sowing confusion among their ranks. As the depot fell, similar reports of success came in from other sectors. The coordinated strikes were working. The Attorney forces were reeling from the unexpected uprisings and the sudden vulnerabilities in their once impenetrable armor. Back on the Vanguard, Tom watched as the map updated in real time, new areas lighting up to indicate sectors liberated from Attorney control. Each victory added momentum to their cause. "We're turning the tide," Tom said, allowing himself a small smile. "Keep pushing. Every system we free is another step towards ending their reign." The battles continued, each victory hard-fought but decisive. Humanity and their allies pushed forward, leveraging their newfound edge with the orb's technology. With each freed planet and each ally gained, the vision of a galaxy free from Attorney rule grew clearer. As the Vanguard set course back to Earth, Tom looked out into the vastness of space, reflecting on their journey. They had ignited a galaxy-wide rebellion, a testament to what could be achieved when disparate beings united for a common cause. But he knew the hardest part was yet to come. The final confrontation with the Attorney themselves. Major Tom Hawkins reviewed the situation from the command center aboard the UEC Vanguard. The Attorney had launched a massive counteroffensive, targeting Earth directly in a desperate bid to quash the burgeoning rebellion. This was it, the climax of their struggle, where the fate of Earth and countless other civilizations would be decided. "Status report," Tom demanded, his gaze fixed on the large tactical display showing the Attorney fleet's rapid approach towards Earth. "Enemy fleet is in final approach, Major," Captain Reyes reported. "Our orbital defenses are in place, and ground forces are on high alert. All Allied ships are accounted for and in battle formation." Tom nodded, feeling the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. "Open a channel to all ships and defense stations," he instructed. His image flickered onto screens across the fleet and on the planet below. "This is Major Tom Hawkins. Today we stand as the last line of defense against a force that has oppressed the galaxy for centuries. We fight not just for Earth, but for the freedom of all beings ensnared by the Attorney. We hold the line today. For everyone." A chorus of affirmations echoed back, the resolve of his troops palpable even through the comms. As the Attorney fleet came into range, the Earth's defenses erupted, sending a barrage of advanced pulse fire and missiles streaking across space. The Attorney, surprised by the ferocity and sophistication of the resistance, faltered in their advance. Tom directed the fleet with precision, targeting Attorney capital ships and exploiting the weaknesses they had learned from the stolen intelligence. The battle was chaotic, a maelstrom of fire and debris orbiting the blue planet below. In the thick of the battle, an urgent message came through from the ground station. Major, Eternity ground forces have begun an assault on our eastern defense line. They're using some sort of new weapon. We're struggling to hold them. Tom made a quick decision. Deploy reserve squads to the eastern line. Use everything we've got to keep them from breaking through. As the battle raged in space, Tom's gamble paid off. The reserve troops bolstered the defenses, and the new Eternity weapon was neutralized by a specially designed EMP device they had developed from the Orb's technology. Hours turned into a day, and slowly the tide began to turn. The Eternity fleet, battered and significantly reduced, started to retreat. Tom watched as the last of the enemy ships warped out of the system, leaving behind a scene of devastation, but also a clear, hard-won victory. "We did it," Tom breathed out, relief and exhaustion mingling in his voice. "We've held them off. Prepare teams for search and rescue operations, and let's assess the damage." As the Vanguard set about its post-battle duties, Tom stood looking out at Earth, its blue surface marred by the scars of battle but still unmistakably beautiful and resilient. They had defended their home and their freedom, but Tom knew this victory was just the beginning of rebuilding, and ensuring such a threat never rose again. Major Tom Hawkins stood on the viewing deck of the UEC Vanguard, gazing at the slowly brightening horizon of Earth. The aftermath of the battle had left scars across the globe, but also a profound sense of unity and purpose. The Eternity, once seemingly invincible, had been defeated. Now, a new chapter was beginning for humanity and their allies across the galaxy. Tom turned as President Martinez joined him on the deck, her expression a mix of relief and determination. "Major, thanks to your leadership, we've not just survived, we've inspired a galaxy. The Eternity are in disarray, their hold on other worlds weakening by the hour." Tom nodded, his mind on the friends lost and the sacrifices made. "We need to ensure this peace lasts. The Eternity might be scattered, but they're not gone. We have to be vigilant." "Agreed," President Martinez replied. "And we will be. But for today, let's take a moment to celebrate what we've achieved. Tomorrow, the real work begins, the rebuilding of our world and the establishment of a new galactic order." Later that day, Tom stood before a massive crowd at the United Earth Coalition headquarters, the faces of humans and aliens alike reflecting a mixture of joy and solemn remembrance. Cameras broadcasted his image across the planet and throughout Allied territories, capturing this historic moment. "People of Earth and our allies across the stars," Tom began, his voice steady and clear. "Today marks the beginning of a new era. Together, we have overcome a great darkness. Let this victory be a testament to what we can achieve when we stand united, not as separate races fighting alone, but as a coalition, strong and free." The crowd erupted into cheers, a sound that filled Tom with hope for the future. After the celebrations, he met with leaders from the newly liberated planets, discussing plans for mutual defense and support. The creation of a democratic galactic council was proposed, one where every civilization could have a voice. As the meetings concluded, Tom walked alone along a peaceful stretch of Earth's restored coastline, the waves gently lapping at the shore. He thought of the long road ahead, the rebuilding of worlds and the forging of new alliances. Looking up at the stars, Tom felt a profound connection to the vast, untamed cosmos. Humanity had not only secured its place among the stars, but had become a beacon for freedom and justice in the galaxy. "Here's to a peaceful future," Tom whispered to the stars, a slight smile playing on his lips as he envisioned the limitless possibilities that lay ahead. With resilience and unity, humanity and their allies would forge a future bright as the dawn rising before him.